the Bronx Journal. Many people are unaware or simply do not have the time to think about what type of food they are consuming, and some don't even care. This is a clear definition of an unhealthy lifestyle, but holistic health counselor Margarita Saja has dedicated her life to changing the eating habits, not only of her own family, but others as well, through consultations and cooking classes. We can all use some tips on better eating and staying healthy, and Margarita joins us now to give us more insight about what she does. Welcome to the program. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
How did you get interested in this holistic lifestyle?
When I was growing up, one of my brothers had pre-diabetic symptoms, and my mom took him to the pediatrician. We were teenagers at the time, and she's told him that he was having migraines, that he had a lot of mucus. He couldn't sit through dinner without having to blow his nose 40 times. And so the pediatrician told her that when he gets diabetes, then we can do something about it. And so she took him to like a naturopath doctor. And he put, this naturopath doctor put him on a diet. But of course my mom said, well, you're not going to eat steak while he's eating tofu. So,
okay.
So my whole family went on this diet.
How old were you at the time?
I was 15.
Okay.
And that was my first experience with whole foods, with not completely, first experience actually realizing that a lot of the food was processed. You don't really think about it when you're eating it, when people put food in front of you.
So they basically told your brother that he really had to get really seriously sick before they could do something about it?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So then your mom says, okay, everybody's diet has changed in the house.
Yes. We started fresh juice. We started making carrot and beet celery juice. We're six in my family. We're 6 siblings. My sister had suffered from a low iron count her whole life, and so this 1 year that we went on this diet, it had never been better, and probably because of the carrot and beet juice that she had. My brother's migraines went away. He never got diabetes. I was 15 and I didn't have acne. I was happy with that, and I was very athletic, and I had a lot of energy, and I felt really good, and that was like.
So the people at home can understand, what is a holistic lifestyle? How do you define that?
I define it as just being natural. I don't use chemicals. Like I don't buy shampoos with chemicals. I buy natural shampoos. I try to buy natural cleaning products, but also, so not just the things inside that I put in my body in terms of food, but also the things around me. So you can't avoid it completely.
So it's not just food, it's everything that you consume that might affect your health.
Yes.
Okay, so some people think that eating healthy is kind of boring, and that it's also difficult because, how do you put together a meal when you're in a rush, when you are used to eating fast food?
That's because they haven't met me.
Okay, well, tell me, how do people correct that situation?
A lot of things is how you set it up. For instance, people tell me, oh, I can't eat breakfast because I need to sleep. Well, if you ate, you would have energy to wake up in the morning. Like it only takes 10, 15 minutes extra, and that's really not that much sleep. But the difference that it would make to take 15 minutes to make breakfast, like real egg omelet with vegetables in the morning, would make a huge difference in terms of energy for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with eating eggs for breakfast?
No.
No, because I just want to see, like there is processed food and whole food, and I really want to know what the difference is so that people can understand, and when do we draw the line? I mean, sometimes you do want to have a slice of pizza. Yeah,
it's okay to have a slice of pizza sometimes, and if you do 90% natural foods or unprocessed foods and 10% of anything, it's not going to have as big an impact. But if it's the other way around, if you eat 90% processed food and 10% of something healthy, then your health is going to reflect whatever it is that you're doing. Mm-hmm. So there's no health in junk food. I mean, junk food is just that. There's no nutrition in it, and not only does it not nourish your body, but it takes away from your body.
And it makes you fat.
Yeah, it makes you fat. Yeah, and it affects your health.
Okay, so what is the most important thing that people like myself, I eat terrible, okay, I'm a terrible eater, so what is the first advice that you would give to someone like me to try to start correcting the situation, which is not easy because I like grease, I like meat,
yeah.
and so for people like myself, what is the advice that you give me and others who are like me?
I think the first thing would be to eat consciously, like start reading labels. when you do you cook at home at all, or do you
Hardly. So that's another question that's coming up. It's like, what happens when people eat out and they're in a rush and they depend on that fast food most of the time because they're really in a rush, and also because they don't cook at home very much, they eat out. How do you eat healthy and eat out?
I would definitely recommend people to learn how to cook. I think that's the number one thing. That just a little at a time. Like eggs are really easy to cook.
I can do eggs.
Yes.
All right.
But also, there's a lot of things you can make better choices, even if you're in a fast food restaurant. Like if you go to a pizzeria, you can take the thin crust with vegetable toppings instead of the thick pan pizza.
So the pepperoni I just had, that's not a...
Yeah,
okay.
it's very high in salt and fat.
All right. So, again, what is the difference between processed food and whole food?
Okay, a whole food, for example, chicken. If you get the chicken on the bone, that would be a whole food, right? It's been killed, it's been plucked, and probably cleaned, right? That would be a whole food. Now, chicken nuggets, there's like 59 other ingredients besides chicken. That's a processed food.
And so anything that's frozen is problematic?
No, not everything. A lot of vegetables are frozen without any preservatives, and I think that is also a great way that's convenient. Frozen vegetables are very convenient. A lot of fish.
It's all about reading the label then.
It's all about reading the label, yes.
What about canned food?
Canned food is not as good. It tends to have a lot of preservatives, and it's been canned a long time, so there's not as much in it. I think frozen is much better.
So you yourself avoid canned food?
I avoid canned food, yes.
Okay.
Mostly. I prefer frozen for convenience, and fresh is always, like, if it's an option, fresh is always my first choice.
And so why I hear everybody talking about whole grains. Why are grains so important?
Whole grains are a source of energy, and whole grains still have all the fiber and the bran and all the things that nature put into it. So when you take all that out, all you get is the starch, and there's not as much nutrition, and it doesn't last as long. It doesn't satisfy your hunger as long, and it doesn't give you as much energy. So think of it like eating whole grains is like having a slow drip IV of energy, as opposed to eating white bread, which is like a sugar rush. It's like you raise and then you crash, whereas the other one is like slow and steady.
So the benefits are energy?
Yes.
More energy? Obviously you're going to be healthier.
Yes.
What else?
Just better quality of life. You sleep better. You don't get sick as often. You don't have to constantly call in sick to school or to work.
Okay, and also with the health question comes the gym. How important is it to you to also exercise?
It's very important. That's the thing that I work on myself. I actually have great friends that remind me I need to go exercise because I'm also very busy. I have a family and I work and all that. But exercise is so important because no matter how healthy the food you're eating, your body will assimilate it so much better if you combine that with exercise.
So it's a combination of the diet plus the training.
Yes.
And when you have clients, you do consultations.
Yes.
What advice do you give them in terms of how does it work? How do you sit down with the person and you basically come to an assessment of what it is, where they're at? And then take them from there? And then take them from there.
And usually I educate them. First thing is sugar. I try to reduce people's sugar a lot because sugar is very fattening.
You're hitting all the buttons with me. I drink a lot of sugar, so I'm learning a lot.
Well, just to give you an example, if you drink 1 can of soda a day, I won't say the name, which soda, but they pretty much all have about 10 spoons of sugar in a can of soda. So just 1 can of soda a day, it adds up to 15 pounds that you add to your body a year.
Wow.
15 pounds, yeah. So just eliminating soda you'll drop weight. So I always have my clients, for instance, I tell them, okay, make a pact with yourself because it's really for them, not for me, right?
Yeah, but you have people like again, here I'm the perfect example for all this. I'm addicted to soda. So, how do you change? I've tried many times to find something else that I can find to replace the soda that I'm addicted to, and I can't do it.
Some people try seltzer with like concentrated juice, because that way you can make it as strong, and then you cut down little by little the amount of sweetness, because you have to train your palate. Your taste buds are accustomed to this like incredible dosage of sugar. And if you drink the 20-ounce bottles, now we're discussing even more sugar.
I see.
Yeah.
So then seltzer water with a little juice.
Seltzer water with juice, or if that's not sweet enough, because if you're accustomed to soda, you need a lot more, something stronger. There's a product that I really like. I buy at Stop and Shop sometimes called Fruit Appeal, and it's like a seltzer with juice in it already, and it's a little sweet, but it has like 15 grams of sugar compared to 40 grams of sugar.
Fruit Appeal. I'm gonna have to look for that.
Yeah.
How important is it to sleep well?
Sleep is very important. Your body repairs itself while you sleep. So I know people tell me like, oh, I don't need sleep. I go on 4 hours a day and I'm fine, but they're not, because even though they may not feel tired, your body doesn't repair, as well.
I want to go back to the question of eating out, because I think for me that's very important. And I'm learning a lot from you here. When you eat out very, very often, you gave me the other solution is, okay, you got to learn how to cook. But still, I mean, when you do eat out often, where do you go? I mean, are there restaurants or are there things in a menu that you look for that will tell you, okay, I can eat healthy here?
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants. One of my favorite, like, to me, what's fast food is sushi. It's always ready. I think sushi is a great, quick, on-the-go meal. There's fish, there's seaweed. Seaweed is full of minerals that are not in a lot of our, micro minerals that are not in our vegetables or in our regular diet. And it's satisfying. That's one of my favorite fast things.
So tell me about your clients. What do you see? How do you see a response from them when you start, dealing with them in one way or another and trying to make them aware of what they should be eating, exercising, sleeping, and so forth? How do they change?
They tend to be really amazed how powerful food can be. And just simple things. Sometimes it's just the absence of all the bad stuff makes them feel so much better. It's like the cloud is lifted, like a fog comes off of them, and they lose weight all of a sudden that they've been trying to lose for a long time, or their cholesterol will drop and they hadn't been able to manage that before. And it just, what they realize is that it's a lot simpler than they thought.
Is there a meal, one particular meal of the day that is like the most important and, the health meal of the day?
I think for me it's breakfast. Yeah, I recommend vegetable omelets for breakfast, or even like save, instead of eating a big dinner at night, if you're somebody who works late, save your dinner for breakfast. Eat your dinner for breakfast and eat something light at night, and that tends to be better for you.
And also eating late is a problem, right? Eating and going to sleep.
Yes,
it really does all kinds of things to your
it
metabolism.
Does. Yeah, it does.
Okay, what do you think about junk food in general? I mean, is there any redeeming value in it at all? Is there anything that they sell at these fast food restaurants that you would say, okay, if you go to that place, make sure you grab this one thing that it's okay, or you don't find those?
I avoid fast food restaurants altogether. I'll do things like I'll go to Haagen-Dazs, but then I'll only do the simple flavors like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, because those have no corn syrup. I try to keep my food as simple as possible. If I'm not making it myself, I try to keep it to like 5 or 6 ingredients, and that's it. So ice cream should be cream, sugar, and vanilla. Cream, sugar, and strawberries, cream, sugar, and chocolate. Like, it shouldn't have like a million other things.
And okay, this is a very important question, and we're almost out of time, but is it expensive? Because you go to those whole food supermarkets and you're sort of scared by the prices.
Sometimes some things are expensive, but mostly it's the prepared foods that are expensive. If you go to Whole Foods and you buy the Whole Foods brand, the 365, it's actually quite affordable. It can be cheaper. Like, their cereals can be cheaper than Kellogg's or some other General Mills or the regular supermarket brands. But the main thing is that when you spend more money on your food, you spend less money on medicine. I have absolutely no aspirin in my house. My medicine.
I can let you borrow some.
Yeah. There's nothing in my medicine cabinet, meaning that is, I don't spend money on medicine.
I see.
I spend my money on food.
That's a very positive way of living, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if somebody's on a limited budget, what is the best place to put your money if you want to live a healthy lifestyle and want to eat well? How do you do it?
Well, I think the first thing that people can do is drop the table salt and get sea salt, because there's a lot of minerals in sea salt. And even though it seems really expensive, it's like maybe between $7 and $15 a pound of salt, whereas I know you could get that for 75 cents in the supermarket. But that alone will make a huge difference, in a person's diet.
And sugar, of course. Salt and sugar. Cut down on both of those.
Well, you could just get rid of the sugar, but
altogether,
or just cut down on it little by little. But adding real sea salt to your diet will make a huge difference. And let's say you spend $7, it's going to last you 2 or 3 months. So if you think about what you're spending per day, it's only pennies.
So again, how do we work someone into this kind of a diet? Slowly, I imagine, progressively,
Yes.
but how do we, somebody who has terrible eating habits, what would you start them up with? What would be the, how would you say, go to the store and get this and this and try this and the other? What is
Well,
that?
I will often take people on a tour of the supermarket, because if somebody goes to a place like Whole Foods or there's many other, there's
Yeah,
a
you
lot
get
of
lost
little
in there.
stores too. There's a lot of little stores that are great, and they're all happy to help you. But yeah, you get lost in there, and the products are so different that you don't really know what you're doing. But once you get a tour, the eggs are great, the milk, like a lot of these stores, the Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, their milk has no hormones, no antibiotics, and that's a great thing.
Margarita, thank you for being on the program. It's been a pleasure. I've learned a lot from you.